Next Gen Poker team right here. I'm Frankie, well known as Francesco.
I'm Matthew, you can call me Rosie.
I'm Jack, you can call me Jello.
I'm Jack, you can call me Jello.
I'm la ciencia.
Let's go, boys.
And we're back to the Hideaway.
Let's go.
Vlog number 7. Let's ride.
Is it 7?
It's 7 already.
Surprise!
What's up, boy?
We got Jello back in business.
I took a little break from the casino. Wasn't feeling it for a while, but we're back and ready to
You just
run
turned
it all over
21
again.
too.
21. Happy birthday to the man.
Can I have my
Wish
first
the
beer
guy
at the
some
casino?
luck. He's gonna be drinking tonight.
Let's play some cards.
We will be supporting him. We are gonna see some cards, a lot of action. Wish us luck.
This first hand we're going to go over, we look down at King Queen of Diamonds in the cutoff. There is an under the gun straddle, and this straddler is a very active, very splashy player. So I raise it up to $12 with my King Queen of Diamonds, and the small blind 3-bets us to the tune of $45. The under the gun straddler calls. The under the gun guy calling gives me a greater price. I'm going to be playing this hand in position. King Queen of Diamonds is a great hand. The under the gun guy calling makes me end up making the call as well. So we head 3 ways to a flop in position. The flop comes 7, 8, 10 with 2 clubs and 1 spade. Obviously, don't love this board. The small blind checks, under the gun checks, and we check as well. So we are gonna head to a free turn, and the turn is a lovely card. It's the King of Hearts. So we now have top pair. The small blind leads out on this card for $75. Our under the gun friend snap calls, just calls so quickly. And now it's on to us. And this is kind of weird, I'm not gonna lie. The under the gun guy is snap calling the $75 raise. Makes me think that he's on a draw. So I think I'm ahead of him. I don't like just calling because I feel like that gives the under the gun a sweeter price to hit his draw on the river. And I think folding when I hit my top pair is too tight. So I like to rip it all in here, guys, for about 185 effective. The small blind calls and the under the gun guy folds.
Yeah, I think we're chopping anyway. I have a king.
He thinks we're chopping.
You have ace king.
I immediately know he has ace king and we're behind. We don't improve on the river. And we punt off our full stack within 10 minutes of sitting down. Fun stuff.
That sucks.
First hand of the day, we're running 8-handed at the Hideaway. I pick up ace queen of spades, under the gun +1. We raise it up to $10. And Matthew makes the call to my left, middle position, and we see 3 more callers. So we're going to the flop 4-handed. And the flop comes Queen, Jack, 7, 2 hearts. So very dynamic board, a lot of draws. I don't love my top pair, top kicker, but I feel like I can charge a lot of hands for value that I'd want to see a turn. So I bet $25 into pot of 41. I think I can size up to $30 here, but 25 at the minimum. So we see 1 call from the buttons. We're back to heads up, which is nice. We like that. And the King of Diamonds comes for us, and we got to think about hands that he'd be calling. King Queen would be calling. I'm blocking King Queen because I have a queen myself. He has all the hearts here. He has Jack 10 as well. So it size up to $55, and he makes a very quick call. So we're off to a river, not exactly knowing where we're at, but we can see a great river as the 10 of clubs gives us the nuts. And here, as I'm putting him on a drawing hand, I don't see a point in betting here. I want to see what he's going to do if I check it over to him, see if he would stab at it with maybe a missed hearts or a bottom pair who thinks he's not good. And our plan does work out as the button bets $90. And here with the nuts, we decide to jam all in for $215, and not to our surprise, he quickly makes the fold. However, I did get an extra $90 of value by checking that river, so great first hand to start the day.
After folding for about 30 minutes, we pick up pocket 10s under the gun. We decide to raise it up to $7, and we see a call from under the gun +1. It's folded around to the button, and the button actually decides to 3-bet us to $25. It's folded around back to us, and I consider 4-betting, however, I just make the call for $18 more, and under the gun +1 calls 2. We go to a flop 3 ways. And we see a flop of 8-4-3 rainbow. Not a bad flop for 10s, however, I decide to check it over to the pre-flop aggressor. and the button decides to c-bet here for $40. Now I consider calling, however I prefer to show aggression here because she does have a lot of holdings in her range, such as ace-king, ace-queen, ace-jack, that have potential to beat me on the turn or river and also bluff me out of pots depending on what the turn and river are. So I elect to raise here to $100 to both isolate her and also potentially get her to fold hands such as ace-king, ace-queen, ace-jack, and also gather more information. With this bet, we were able to isolate his under the gun +1 folds, and the button quickly makes a call for $60 more. This makes me think that she has a lot of holdings such as overpairs, jacks, queens, and potentially aces or kings. Now the turn is a 7 of clubs, doesn't really change much. I decide to slow down here because I don't really think she has a lot of holdings that I can beat currently. For the river, we see a 6 of clubs. Now I have a choice to make. I can either check here and likely lose the hand, or I can apply max aggression and try to fold out jacks, queens, and potentially put aces and kings in a very tough spot. And ultimately, I decide to make the move of max aggression and jam for $175 effective. However, to our disappointment, the button snap calls and flips over pocket kings. As our assumption was right, she did have an overpair. However, unfortunately, we were beat and kings was able to make the call.
We top off after that fun king-queen of diamonds hand, and shortly after we look down at king-queen suited again. The middle position player raises to 12, low jack calls, button calls, we call as well. 4 ways to a flop of ace, king, queen, rainbow. We hit bottom 2 pair. We check, we're loving it. It does check around though. The turn is the 7 of spades, brings a flush draw on board. I think it's definitely time to bet here. I elect for the sizing of $30. We get 1 caller, and that caller is the same splashy guy who snap called on the previous king-queen hand. He snap calls again here. I think he's on the draw. The river is not a great card. It's the ace of diamonds. It counterfeits our 2 pair. We now lose to any ace, but the draws did miss. I check it over to our buddy, and he does not hesitate to bet $65 into a pot of about 100. Obviously, don't love this spot as the ace counterfeits us, and we lose to any ace now, and we were beating an ace before. But I gotta remember who I'm playing against, and this was a very splashy player. He straddled a lot, he played in a lot of pots, he chased, and all the draws missed here. I talked myself into making the call, and he mucks. So we get 1 hero call down to get the momentum going back in our direction. Very happy to take this one down, and the tides look to be turning.
This hand we're going to go over, we pick up 10 jack suited in the small blind. Cutoff limps to us, and I complete in the small blind, the big blind checks. We see quite a beautiful flop. We pick up the nuts along with a flush draw. We check for deception, big blind checks, and the cutoff bets out $5 into a $6 pot. We're loving it right here. We just make the call, hoping to keep the big blind in, hoping that someone makes some sort of hand on the turn. And we pick up still the nuts with the straight. We continue our deception with the check. The big blind checks and the cutoff fires again for $15. At this point, facing the second barrel, I think it's time to go for some value with our monster. And I like to raise it up to $45. We get a nice little comment from the big blind who snap folds, and then we see the cutoff call for $30 more. We go to a river, which is the deuce of hearts. An absolute dud. Beautiful river. The cutoff was short stacked, only had about 50 behind, so I elect to bet $50 to put them all in. The cutoff tanks for a while as he asks right here if I flopped it on him, as I reply in my head, "Why, yes sir, I did flop it on you. I flopped the absolute nutter butters." And I flip it over as he calls, and he's not too excited to see the bad news. We pick up a nice little pot our way. For this hand we're going to go over, we pick up Queen 9 suited in the hijack, and elect to open it up to $7. Fold around to the small blind who makes a call, and big blind follows suit. And we go to a flop 3 ways. Flop comes 10, 6, deuce, 2 clubs, and oddly enough small blind immediately donks out for $15 and big blind actually calls. Here I'm getting such a good price with a flush draw. I don't see any reason to make a raise, and also donking often symbolizes strength, so I just decide to call and assess a turn. The turn is the 9 of diamonds, giving us mid pair along with our flush draw. Small blind bets out again for $15, and the big blind folds. I think this is a pretty standard call, as I don't really know what type of hands a raise is trying to get to fold out. We call and see a river that is a deuce of diamonds, and immediately the small blind reaches for chips and bets $20. Now, here's where I go into the tank, because I do have some sort of showdown value. I'm getting about 5 to 1 on a call with mid pair, and it doesn't really make sense for her to snap lead out for $20 there. I think that I can still make a call here and be profitable a decent amount of time to a lot of weird bluffs and maybe a pair of sixes. I do decide to make the call, and she flips over the bad news, ace deuce of hearts. I guess she decided to take a pretty weird route with this hand, and ultimately I guess it paid off for her, so we'll get the next one.
For this hand, we pick up ace jack of diamonds, under the gun +1. We raise it up to our standard sizing of $8. And the person to our left, who is not a typical player, he almost always calls when I raise and just likes to get in pops with me. He's been talking to me majority of the night. So here, he 3-bets to $27. Normally don't like to play ace jack suited as a 3-bet out of position. However, it is not that much more to call, so he did give me a pretty good price. And this player definitely has the capabilities of just raising me with maybe low pocket pairs, try to get me out of the hand immediately. So I make the call and we go to a flop, which comes a very nice one. 9-2-6, 2 diamonds. We have 2 overs and a nut flush draw. So when he bets $40 on the flop, I am not going anywhere. I don't think I should raise here, as like I said, he could have worse hands that he's just bluffing at, and if I do hit here, it'd be way more disguised if I didn't raise the flop. So for those reasons, I just make the call and we're off to a turn, which is a king of hearts. Not the best turn, as a king could hit his 3-betting range like ace king. However, he decides to check back here. So now I'm taking him off ace king, and we river a jack, so we got showdown value, and I see no other reason here besides to check with the intentions of calling any reasonable sized bet. Action goes check check, and I flip over my ace jack, and we are good. So take down a pretty sizable pot here to a player getting a little aggressive and maybe 3-betting us light.
Alright, it's time for a little hand of Omaha High. Omaha is a variation of poker where you get 4 cards instead of 2, and you play your 2 best cards. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't. I've played like 6 hands of Omaha my whole life. Don't know how to play. Don't know what's good. Don't know what's bad. So don't go too hard on me. This hand was filmed on Frankie's phone, as mine was not recording properly. So these cards in front of you right now are not mine. They're his. I'm going to tell you my cards right now. My hand is ace 2 king 5 with the ace 2 hearts, king 5 diamonds. I mean, that's pretty good, right? It looks pretty cool. I'm in early position. It's $5 to come in for Omaha. I limp for $5, and so does everyone else at the table. We're going 8 ways to a flop. Flop comes 6 king 5 with 2 clubs, so we hit 2 pair. I bet $25 to charge the various draws. We get 3 callers. Frankie's one of those callers. The turn is the 3 of diamonds, so the only thing that gets there is 4, 7, and pocket 3s, I guess. But like, with pocket 3s call a flop? I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing, right? So, I mean, I'm not really scared of this card. Maybe I should be? I bet $75 to charge the draws that are now available, right? Now, any 4s open-ended. Still, we have that flush draw. The guy to my left rips it all in for $185. Folds back to me. This sucks. I don't want to be here. I want to just play Texas Hold'em. He gives some good table talk. I'll let you guys listen into this. When he says that he has the nuts and he thinks I'm on a draw, my immediate inclination is to think he's lying, right? And that he's on a draw. Given that I'm trying to charge draws, I think that he's now semi-bluffing. Maybe he's trying to push me out of the pot because I don't know what I'm doing. So I think it's time to stand my ground with this 2 pair. I call. The board runs out, jack of diamonds, all the draws miss. And no, he wasn't lying. He had 4-7. He had the stone cold nuts. We lose. As you can see, I look really thrilled about it. We had just made it all back from punting it off in the beginning. And we decided to lose $200 on an Omaha hand. So, fun times at the Hideaway, and that'll do it for me.
The last hand for me we're going to go over, we pick up ace-king offsuit on the button, and it's limp to us, and we decide to raise it up to 15. We see a small blind fold, and the big blind raised it up to $62. Our mind's already made up at this point as it folds to us, as we only have $125 behind because we had recently had some tough beats before we had a chance to top up. We see a snap call from the big blind. We're off to a race. Flop comes Jack, Jack, 10. We see a 9 on the turn and a 10 on the river. Hoping to maybe chop it up with ace high, but no, we lose the pot to pocket aces. What a tough way to end the session. That was a brutal session. Couldn't win a hand. I know you guys probably don't like watching fish that lose a bunch, but it's always nice to switch it up, I guess. So didn't mind donking off $600 tonight. I guess we'll get them next time we come.
What is up, boys? Finished the second session ever at the Hideaway. Awesome game.
What a roller coaster.
Finished the day pretty well. I cashed out for $230 profit minus $59 for the fee for playing at the card room.
For me, not as pretty as that. We lost a 184 on the day, but we lost 210 on that one Omaha hand in my final hand ever of Omaha. So if you count our poker play, we were actually profit in Texas Hold'em after punting off our stack in the beginning. So I'm happy. No more Omaha for me, and we're going to play good poker.
And we'll see you guys in the next one. Peace!
I fucking suck at poker.